We talked about Russia's aggressive acts that pose a threat to NATO and our collective security. That's why I met with the Bucharest Nine, the Eastern Flank allies, in advance of this summit. And today I also met with the leaders of the three Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania. I shared with our allies that what I'll convey to President Putin, that I'm not looking for conflict with Russia, but that we will respond if Russia continues its harmful activities. And we will not fail to defend the transatlantic alliance or stand up for democratic values. As allies, we also affirmed our continued support for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Ukraine. We agreed to keep consulting closely on nuclear deterrence, arms control, and strategic stability. And there was a strong consensus in the room among the leaders in that meeting on Afghanistan. Our troops are coming home, but we agreed that our diplomatic, economic, and humanitarian commitment to the Afghan people and our support for the Afghan National Defense and Security Forces will endure. And I welcomed our allies and partners to recognize that counterterrorism efforts must continue to ensure that Afghanistan never again becomes a safe haven for attacks on our countries, even as we take on terrorist networks in the Middle East and Africa. And I'm deeply gratified that as an alliance, we adopted a far-reaching plan to make sure NATO can meet the challenges that we face today and in the future, not yesterday. The NATO 2030 agenda, and that we agreed to fully resource that agenda. The last time NATO put together a strategic plan was back in 2010, when Russia was considered a partner and China wasn't even mentioned. We talked about the long-term systemic challenges that China's activities pose to our collective security today. We agreed to do more to enhance the resilience of our critical infrastructures around the world, including trusted telecommunications providers, supply chains, and energy networks. We agreed to enhance our cooperation with our democratic partners in the Indo-Pacific to meet challenges that exist there. We also endorsed a new cyber defense policy, NATO's first in the past 7 years, to improve the collective ability to defend against counter threats from state and non-state actors against our networks and our critical infrastructure. And we adopted a climate security action plan, which several years ago people thought we never would do, for reducing emissions from NATO installations and adapting to the security risks of climate change while keeping us sharp, very, very sharp on our ability to deter and defend against threats. And finally, we agreed that among the most important shared missions is renewing and strengthening the resilience of our democracies. I pointed out we have to prove to the world and to our own people that democracy can still prevail against the challenges of our time and deliver for the needs of our people. We have to root out corruption that siphons off our strength, guard against those who would stoke hatred and division for political gain, this phony populism. Invest in strengthening the institutions that underpin and safeguard our cherished democratic values, as well as protecting the free press and independent judiciaries. All of those are on the agenda. That's how we'll prove the democracy and that our alliance can still prevail against the challenges of our time and deliver for the needs of our people. This is going to be looked at 25 years from now as whether or not we stepped up to the challenge, because there's a lot of autocracies that are counting on them being able to move more rapidly and successfully in an ever complicated world than democracies can. We all concluded we're going to prove them wrong.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.